Let me start there with you, Mark. How you feeling about your Steelers this year?
I'm really excited about the Mavs this year.
Who was your favorite Steeler growing up?
Probably Franco Harris, because my dad played poker with him one time, just randomly.
Wait. How did that happen?
I don't even remember. I just remember my dad played poker with his buddies, like on Wednesday or Thursday nights. And just random people that, his friends would invite friends. And I think Franco thought he was going to take my dad and his buddies for a lot of money, but he didn't realize my dad and his buddies had no money. And so that just was a conversation. So that was our connection to the Steelers. And so he was my favorite player. And then obviously I remember the Immaculate Reception when I was a little kid. I mean, I remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was doing. So it was Franco.
Was your dad a Steeler fan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my dad, we went to one game because he got tickets from somebody he worked with when I was 11, and that was like the biggest deal ever. And I'll never forget walking to the game, and that was the year that we won. When I was a kid, that was before they were good, so it was the SOS, same old Steelers. And I remember we went and saw Roy Jefferson catch a touchdown pass, like the very beginning of the game. That was the last touchdown we scored, but we won, and that was the only win of the season. So, we were huge Steeler fans. Up until the day my dad died when he was 92, he was a huge Steeler fan.
What was that day like when you bought the Mavs? That you told your dad you were buying the Mavs?
Oh, my goodness. Indescribable. I just remember, just letting out a big scream and then when I told my dad and, it was kind of like an impetus for him to move to Dallas because my dad did upholstery on cars. So if you had a rip in a car seat, then you took it to Regency Products where my dad worked. And he still was working. And I couldn't get him to retire. And finally, that was kind of the impetus for him to retire and come down to Dallas and live and just hang out and go to Mavs games. And it was really special.
Also, that moment when you make more than your dad, do you remember that? I remember when I made more than my father, and it bothered me a little bit. Like I wasn't proud that I did. I was sad.
It was weird, yeah. 'Cause I remember telling my dad I made $100,000 in the year, and he cried. Like I said, he did upholstery on cars, and I don't think he ever made more than $40,000 in a year, and it wasn't so much then that was the hard part. It was, he was dad. And so, like, if we went out to dinner, he was pulling out the credit card no matter what. And, the minute I said dad, and he just looked at me like with a death stare, like, don't even think that you're going to pay for dinner. Even when he got to the point where it was my credit card, it was still the death stare.
What's the best thing you ever bought him?
It wasn't any one thing. It was just him. I told him he could go anywhere he wanted to go in the world, he and my mom, and or take my brothers and sometimes. And so he loved to travel, and so he just got to go anywhere he wanted. And he went on cruises everywhere. He was Mr. Cruise. And there'd always be 20 stories. And I'd hear from people or get emails from random people who made friends with my dad. And yeah, it was. I miss him every day, but I'm just grateful that I could just do that for him.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV, stream for free on BR Live, or download the Dan Patrick Show app.